before we get too deep into it, I posted two. You may have heard me talk about this before. I think when you're getting started in real estate, your attitude and your mindset are so important when you're brand new. Staying on top of that stuff, because if you're not careful, you can dwell on the disappointments and the rejection, and you can think this isn't for me, and you can quit. So it's important to make sure you're keeping your mindset healthy and you have a good attitude. Um, one second. So I have posted two videos because when you're starting something new, when you're new in real estate, when you're new at anything, it's difficult. It's not, this isn't hard work, right? We're not lifting heavy things. We're not doing difficult stuff. It can be mentally and emotionally draining to learn new things, though, and to fail over and over and over again. And so it is hard. It's hard to get your feet under you, hard to gain confidence any very quick at all. So it's difficult. It's hard. You have to know that. That's why I love setting expectations with new agents. You can make a ton of money in this industry, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to challenge you mentally and physically, and not physically, but emotionally and mentally. And you have to learn stuff. You're not going to be good at this new. Anyone in this industry or in this company who is good now was not good when they started. So I posted these two videos. One is a video from Inky Johnson, who was a collegiate athlete who was about to be a professional football player and had a real terrible injury. Now is a motivational speaker, tells his story. And Ray Lewis, who was a professional football player and Super Bowl winner, MVP, and Hall of Famer. But they both talk about, real estate is hard. Learning new stuff is hard. They went through some really, really hard stuff. And I think it's really good to hear that and put your own problems in perspective sometimes. They dealt with some really tough stuff, some really, really difficult things, and have achieved high levels of stuff since then. So Ray Lewis's whole talk is about using your pain to become more powerful, using your pain to motivate you. And he talks about how most people, when they feel pain, they back off and they stop what they're doing. Because that's what your body's trained you to do. That's what your mind trains you to do. When there's pain or discomfort, stop doing that. And it's when you push through that is when you can really have success. So watch those two videos. They're both kind of long. They're both like 15 minutes or something, but they will hopefully change your mindset and think, okay, this, what I'm doing is not that hard. I can do this. So please watch those videos too. Charlie, wish I had access, accepted earlier that sometimes shit falls apart regardless of your best efforts, and to view it as a positive. That was even a place for great. That's a good one too. Okay, I'm gonna jump through my stuff, touch it really quickly. I'm gonna come back and touch anything else people talk about. Keep making comments, things I wish I knew, or things that you're curious about now. Put those in there too. But I'm gonna start jumping through my stuff, and we're gonna revisit those things. Thank you, Charlie and Kelly, so far. All right, share my beautiful PowerPoint with you again. I'm gonna make sure this pops up properly. On the screen. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna zoom in just a tad. So things I wish I knew, or I wish I did when I was new. My aha things that I realized as I continued my career in real estate. So a couple things. Live and die by the time block. Most people have no clue what they're doing. You are not a salesperson. Buyers are liars. We're all just working for tips. You got to unwind. That's an important one. Self-education is a major key, and have an abundance mindset. These are the things we're going to talk about. So let's go through the first one here. Live and die by the time block. I explain this to new people when I'm training them. Your only job as a salesperson, this is your only job in real estate. You listening? Write this down. Your only job is prospecting. Everything else can be done by someone else. You can pay someone to show houses, open doors, go to your inspections, write your contracts, negotiate. Someone else can do all those things. Your only job is prospecting. You can be the best person at showing houses. You could be the best. You can memorize a contract, know everything about a contract. If you can't put leads and prospects into the top of your funnel, you will never make any money. You will never sell any houses. Your only job is prospecting. Put those items first. That's why Kivo has income producing activities, a font system. Those are the things you need to time block on your calendar. FSBOs, networking, team building, those things need to be on your calendar, right? We put them on your calendar down here already for you. So you can see those things that you need to be doing. Check them off as you do them. You can't see me because I'm sharing my screen, but use your calendar, check those things off as you're doing them. You have to time block your schedule for your income producing activities. If you don't, it'll be Thursday or Friday and you'll be like, oh man, I didn't do any FSBOs this week. Oh, well, I'll hit them next week. You have to time block. You have to know that your only job in real estate as a salesperson is prospecting. So put those things first. Time block your personal family time, or you'll never have any. I think that's very important to understand. If you're part-time and you have another job, or maybe you're a stay-at-home parent, or whatever it might be, or you don't want this to take over, you just want this to be your part-time job, whatever, time block your personal stuff. If you've got kids sports on the weekends, time block that stuff so you don't get caught being late or having to leave early. Time block the important things. Otherwise you'll miss those things. And I learned that the hard way. So time block is very, very important. You must live and die by the time block. If you don't live by it, it will kill you. You will die by it. Avoid the DNA cycle. This is something I'm super excited about, you guys. You know me, I love a good graph. So I came up with a new graph. You're going to freaking love it. So, okay, here we are. Here's your, right. We talk about this is your income. This is your activity. And if you stay consistent, your activity, same thing every day, every week, every month, you're doing the same stuff, your income is going to climb and then it's going to boom, shoot through the roof. And it should continue into the stratosphere as long as your activity maintains consistency. Now, the problem, what we see, most people's activity is right here. It's boo-do-do-do-do-do-do. And their income is right here. It's not, it's down here. It's nothing. Their income never gets off the ground because they never, ever maintain consistency. So here's what happens. No one can avoid this, right? It happens to everyone when they're brand new, but I'm going to warn you about it so you can stop it after it happens once. Your activity is going to maintain consistency. Your income is going to go, whoop, right? I'm doing all the right stuff. Everything's going great. What's going to happen is you're going to get busy. You got 5 listings, 5 buyers, 5 contracts. You got so much going on. And your activity, you're going to think, I can't call any FSBOs. I can't do an open house. I'm showing houses. Your activity is going to go like this. And then your income is going to go like this. It will follow it. I promise you. And then you're going to think, oh, crap, I don't have any money coming in next month. And then bam, activity's back up here, right? And then what happens? Whoop, here it comes again, that income. And then, oh my God, I'm so busy. And then here comes my income. And most realtors live and die by this DNA curve. This is how they live. Realtors will have $20,000, $30,000 months and then make $2,000 the next month or nothing for 2 months. And they'll have huge $20,000, $30,000 month and then nothing for 2 more months. And it's because they have not learned that I need to time block my activity. I need to be consistent every day, every week, every month. And when that happens, you avoid this DNA curve and you just go into the stratosphere and you make as much money as you could possibly want. So you have to time block, right? Hopefully that's my new graph. Super excited about that graph. You'll be seeing a lot of it. So live and die by the time block. Very important. The next thing, most people have no clue what they were doing. I wish I knew this when I was new. I blew up my mentor many, many times, calling him, asking what I thought were, stupid questions. Hey, I hate to call you and ask you this, but I'm not sure. I have to ask. And I realized that simply by having a mentor and being at Kivo, I am better off. I have a leg up on 70% of real estate agents, right? 70% of real estate agents sell less than 6 houses a year. So if you are at Kivo, you are better than 70% of real estate agents because you have your mentor's cell phone number. You have their mentor's cell phone number. Mentors, you have my cell phone number. You have the Facebook group. You have a leg up on 70% of real estate agents just by being here at Kivo. So when I was new, I'd be doing things, right? Negotiating, writing offers, and I'd have another realtor text me or call me and say, this needs to be done this way, or you need to do this, or whatever. They get mad at me and I'd be like, oh man, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'd call my mentor and they'd be like, no, you're right. They're wrong. And I realized that most of the time, if you just use your common sense, most of the time, there are some weird things that we do because it's the way it's always been done. But for the most part, use your common sense and you're going to get these things right. And the other realtor is the one who's wrong most of the time. So that's something I wish I knew. Don't go around being, crazy and doing whatever you want, but no, have a little confidence in yourself that, okay, my common sense is right. And for the most part, it's for the most part, I'm gonna get these things. I'm gonna be right. Um, Larry asked if this is being recorded. I think it is on Facebook, but I am recording it now on Zoom. Sorry, Larry. I hope we didn't miss the first couple. So most people have no clue what they're doing. Have some confidence in yourself. Have some confidence in your mentor, because if your mentor's done any amount of business, 10 deals or something, they're probably better off than most realtors as well. So have some confidence in yourself. Most people don't know what they're doing. Be the leader in the transaction. Something else I wish I knew when I was new. I wish I'd known this. I'd have gotten to sales long before I got into sales. You are not a salesperson. We are a salesperson in the sense that we you guys can't see my screen. So the next one is you're not a salesperson. We are a salesperson in the sense that we make a commission. We are not a salesperson in the sense that I don't have a product that I need you to buy. I don't need to convince you to buy something you don't want to buy. If I'm selling insurance or cell phones at the AT&T store, whatever, I need you to think you need this product. Even though you probably don't want it or need it at this time, I need to create urgency. I need to do these things so you buy this product right now while you're in front of me. In real estate, that's not it. We are consultants, right? I don't have inventory. I have listings, but I don't care if you buy those or not. Someone else is going to buy those. I need you to buy me. I am the product, right? Not the house. And that's something you need to learn early on. The house is not the product. Quit trying to sell the house. Sell you. You are the product. If you have a buyer, don't walk in and say, oh my God, look at this house, right? Ask questions, lead them, provide value to them. If you have a listing, don't go do open houses and try to sell that listing. It's going to sell itself. Your job is to capture clients from listings, sign calls, open houses. So know early on that you are the product, not the house. So we are not a salesperson. We're a consultant. That person, that buyer is going to buy a house, whether I sell them one or not. That listing is going to sell their house, whether I sell it or not. I don't need to convince them to sell something. I need to convince them to use me. So we are not salespeople. We are consultants. We do not sell things to them. We guide them through a transaction. So understand that. So it's a mindset. It's different. You don't have to be a smooth talking salesperson to be good at real estate. You have to care about people, be knowledgeable about the process, relate with people. That's a huge thing. If you can connect with people and build rapport with people quickly, that's what's most important. You don't have to be a salesperson. Don't be a salesperson. Actually, you'll have more success. I'm switching back and forth between screens here, guys, and my computer's awfully slow. Okay, next thing. This is a good one. Buyers are liars. This is something I wish I knew. If I met someone at an open house, I'm like, oh yeah, I start counting my money, making $3,000 off this guy. Heck yeah, I don't need to work next week, right? Buyers are liars. Clients have a tendency to fall off of the face of the earth. God, I feel so bad for all the families of all the buyers I've ever met because they've disappeared off the face of the earth. You have to always be filling the top of your pipeline. If you meet a buyer at open house, that doesn't mean you can stop doing open houses. If you have a buyer that says, hey, let's go look at houses at 2 p.m. on Sunday, you have to say, no, I have an open house at 2 p.m. on Sunday. I would love to go show you houses at 1 or at 4 when I'm done with that. Because that buyer you cancel your open house to go do, that buyer might never buy anything. Very important to understand. You're time block your prospecting. Buyers are liars. Don't count on listings to ever close because hopefully they all do, but they don't all. Don't count on buyers to always close because hopefully they do, but they definitely won't all. You have to know that your job is to fill the top of the pipeline. Do not count your money until it is in your bank account. So I'm probably more on the superstitious side of this than most people, but whenever I was doing a bunch of sales, I'd have 5 to to 12 houses under contract at any time, and I would never know how much money I'm going to make. That's why I didn't really like DCA or Kivo Commission in the beginning. I didn't like to know what I was going to make next month because I thought if I added it up, I would jinx it and it would all bust. I'm a little more superstitious than most, but don't count your money before it's in your bank account. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, because some of them are not going to close. They're just not. I was talking to Will about this a couple days ago. He had a big month planned, and then life happens as it does, and things happen, crap happened, couple fell through, and now you're you thought you were going to make X, and now you're only going to make half that. So you stop doing FSBOs, you stop doing open houses because you think you're going to make, $10, $15, $20,000 this month. And then 3, 4, 5-year deals fall apart, and oh crap, now I'm only making half of that. And now I'm a month behind on my prospecting. So you have to make sure that you're filling the top of the pipeline always, because buyers are liars. They're going to disappear. They're going to never buy anything. Sellers are going to disappear. They're never going to buy anything. Deals are never going to close. And what happens, this is what's so frustrating. If you miss 1 week of prospecting, that kind of shotguns and splinters off into a month of your income or 2 months of your income. So just because you miss 1 week, it's not like you miss 1 week of income. You miss 1 week of prospecting, you miss a month of income. You miss a month of prospecting, you're missing 2 or 3 months worth of income that you're missing, because the people you meet in 1 month will close over a 2 or 3 month period. So if you stop prospecting that month, that 2 or 3 month period is where you start losing income. So important. If I miss 1 weekend, that's a month of my income I'm missing. If I miss a month of prospecting, that's several months of income. Very important to understand that. All right, what's next? We are all just working for tips. Important to understand what you're doing, right? This kind of ties in to the you're not a salesperson. The best thing you can do is understand and appreciate people. The one thing you can always count on people to do is act like people. They will do whatever is in their best interest, even if they are the best, most upstanding, church-going people. They are going to do what's in their best interest. You have to understand that. You have to appreciate that. And you have to use that, right, to influence people into doing the right thing. You can use your relationship and how you understand how people act and react to influence situations to help them get out of their own way. Your personality must adapt to your client and their wants and needs. The better you can adapt to a person right when you meet them or when you talk to them on the phone. This is why I always say people in the service industry have a lot of success in real estate, is because if I'm a bartender or waiting tables or whatever it might be, I have to adapt to 5 or 6 or 10 different people at one time. The good bartenders or waiters have to adapt and build rapport. And, some waiters or bartenders just give your stuff and leave. The good ones, they adapt to people. They have conversations. They make you like them and then make you forget them right away, right? So it's just, I can build rapport with you very quickly. Very important. This is something I read in my first year, and it's changed how I deal with people in real estate and my family and people in general. It's a great book. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a great book for people to read. It's very dry. It's tough to listen to, but it's a great book at understanding why people do what they do. If you can be strategic and intentional about winning friends and intentional about influencing people, if you can think about these things while you're doing them, be intentional about them, it's very easy to make people like you and have them not really know why they like you, and get people to do things that you want them to do or that they need to do by influencing them. And the one thing I think is interesting about this, there's no way, it's not like I'm hypnotizing people into liking me or doing what I want them to do. You have to take genuine interest and genuine, you have to, the only way you can win friends and influence people is to be genuine about your interest in them and in your relationship. So it's not like I'm tricking people into doing stuff. It's a great book, but you have to take genuine interest in people, which is why I understand you have to understand and appreciate people in order to have success with them. Otherwise, you're going to be pulling your freaking hair out. Because like I said, the one thing you can count on people to do is act like people. I promise you. Hopefully that makes sense to people. All right. Next. I'm going through this super quick, so stop me if we have questions, but I want to get through all this and talk about other people's stuff as well, because there are some good comments. Um, you've got to unwind. Okay, so this kind of ties off that last one too, right? People will drive you crazy. When you're a realtor, you wear a bunch of hats. You are a chauffeur. You open doors for people. You are a secretary. Sometimes you're a general contractor. Sometimes you're a therapist. Sometimes you have to talk people off the ledge, and sometimes you have to be a punching bag for people, and they have to scream and yell and vent at you. And so you wear a bunch of hats, and so sometimes you carry around people's baggage. Sometimes, especially if you have a good rapport or a relationship with one of your clients, you can emotionally attach to the situation, and if they lose a house or something bad happens, it can emotionally wear on you. So you have to unwind. You have to cut loose a little bit responsibly with your peers, whether that means attending happy hours, attending the weekly meetings on Mondays or on Thursdays, or you have to surround yourself with a community who understands the stuff that we do, right? You can't go surround yourself with a bunch of people who work in the oil field, because they got whole other stuff they're talking about and doing. You need to unwind and be around people who understand about the real estate industry. This is not a recommendation. This is a prescription. You have to do this. Otherwise, if you're just by yourself doing your own thing, not talking to anyone, not seeking guidance from anyone, or help venting with anyone, it is going to drive you to hate people. Because again, one thing you can count people to do is act like people. And so if you can't be around it, vent it, learn from it, it's gonna sneak up on you, and you're gonna be very upset. So make sure you're unwinding. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, and getting that stuff off your chest. Release that stuff. Self-education is key, major key. It's a major key, not just key. Our system, Kivo, your mentor, whatever it might be, we're going to train you the basics. We're going to train you for sub owners, open houses, networking, team building. We're going to train you the absolute basics, the fundamentals that you need to master in this industry, the skill sets. It is up to you to go build on your knowledge and to fill in the blanks. I can't sit down with you. I could sit down with you for a week and not give you all the random crap that I have in my head that I've accumulated over a 7-year career. I can't sit down and train you everything. I can't do it. I'd love to. I wish I could put it on videos, and I wish I could put it in your head somehow. I cannot do it. No one can. You only learn by making mistakes, by doing things. It's the only way to build your knowledge. I talked about this a little bit last week. I said, what if I told you all you had to do to make $100,000 in real estate was wake up at 5 a.m.? I know that that's possible to make $100,000 in real estate by waking up at 5 a.m. because that's what I did when I was part-time. I didn't have a lot of time. Woke up at 5 a.m., went to work afterward, did all these things. I knew I didn't know a bunch of stuff. I knew that I knew nothing. And so I had to wake up and learn things. I had to comp houses. I had to review the MLS. I had to look at contract documents. I had to listen to podcasts about open houses and sales skills. And I had to do all these things. No one taught them to me. I learned them from the internet. I learned them from books, from podcasts. You have to self-educate yourself. Your mentor, I, me, anyone in the company, no one person can train you everything in the real estate industry. It is not possible. There's too much. There's too many niches. There's too many little pieces of information. Everything's too situational. So you have to self-educate yourself, whatever that means, however that means. The best education is experience. Cannot replace that. But while you're gaining experience, learn the little things, learn a bunch of stuff, right? I wanted to work with investors. So I read a bunch of investing books. I watched a bunch of investing videos so that when they were talking, I kind of knew what they were talking about, right? No one told me any of that stuff. Lydia makes a great point here. If you have a question, ask your mentor. Mentors are not mind readers. So again, I'm going to train you the font, the for sale by owners, the open house, this, that. I don't know what you don't know either. You don't know what you don't know. So go on a self-education mission. Read stuff, learn as much as you can. It's the only way for you to develop into a top producing agent. You have to go on your own. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the roadmap. I'm going to give you the basic skill set, but you have to go develop yourself into that. I tell this story sometimes. When I was brand new, my mentor Steve said I could give you 10 listings right now if I wanted to. I could go through my phone, I could get 10 referrals, and I can give them to you, but you wouldn't know what to do with them if I gave them to you. And at the time, I thought that was stupid. I was like, yeah, I'd sell them. But as I started getting like 2 or 3 contracts or 2 or 3 buyers at a time, I realized that, oh my God, I couldn't mentally, physically, time-wise, and mentally, I couldn't handle that much business. I wasn't good enough yet. I didn't know enough. I didn't know the process enough. I didn't know that what I could delegate, what I couldn't, what was urgent, what wasn't. I didn't know all that stuff. So I had to experience it. And I had to learn about it in order to grow into the kind of person, into the kind of agent who could have large amounts of success. So, very, very important is self-education, major key. You're going to learn a ton from us, but we cannot teach you everything. It's not possible. Can't be done. So you need to learn as much as you can. Join Facebook groups, read books, listen to podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Lastly, here we go. Have an abundance mindset. This is very important. You're going to lose more deals, or maybe that's just me. I've lost more deals in my first year than I actually closed. You have to know that there's always going to be another deal coming. I talk about this all the time. For 2 years, I was worried. Each month, I was worried about the next month. I've got some deals under contract. Great. Okay, what about next month? I don't have anything. What am I going to do? And then I get something under contract. And then the next month. And for 2 years, I was worried about the next month. And finally, I realized that if I just kept doing, for 2 years, I'm worried about the next month. And I realized if I just kept doing what I'm supposed to be doing, my open houses every Sunday, 5 to 8 FSBOs a week, network, team build. If I do all these things, eventually stuff just kind of falls out of the sky, lands in my lap. I'd have nothing under contract. I do my open house like normal, and someone walks in and they need to buy a house in the next month. Bam, I got a house under contract. I got nothing going on, and bam, someone calls me, a FSBO I talked to 2 months ago and been following up with, they're ready to list now. So if you just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're filling that top of that pipeline, every month is going to work itself out. You have to know that if I do what I'm going to do, you have to have that abundance mindset that it's going to happen if I just do what I'm supposed to do. The other thing, 2,500 transactions every month close in the Oklahoma City metro. There is no shortage of transactions. That number's been the same for almost a decade. More realtors that come in, good market, bad market, that number's been very, very similar for the last decade. We have about 25,000 or a little over 25,000 transactions every single year. So there's more than enough business out there. The largest contributor to transactions in the MLS is non-MLS members, which means there was not a realtor tied to it. So builders, listing agents, there's more people not tied to transactions than any individual person who is. So there is more than enough business to be out there. And kind of to this a little bit, to that abundance mindset, it's very important to understand, whether you're a spiritual person or, you believe in the universe, however that works. But, there's without going too much into it, there's an old adage, you have not because you ask not. You have to ask for the abundance, or put the abundance in your head, put it in the forefront of your mind and your head. Know that there's abundance, know that it's out there, and then all I have to do is go get it. Know that there's just money laying on the ground all across the Oklahoma City metro, and all you got to go do is go find it, figure out a way to find it and pick it up. You have to know that there is an abundance of opportunity, an abundance of money. Money is not a zero-sum concept. A lot of people think money, in order for money is not zero sum. So a lot of people think in order for me to make money, I have to take it from someone. I have to go get it. Someone has to give me their money in order for me to make it. It's not zero sum like that. You can create value and create money. When I was in my first year, and when I sold my 32 houses in my first year full time, I only knew about 2 of those people. I had to go out and create those sales out of thin air. I didn't know those people. I didn't know those houses I was going to sell them. I'd never been in them before. I never met any of these people. I didn't know any of the stuff I learned while I was doing it. You have to go out and create it and know that it's out there for you to go get. It's not sitting somewhere and I know where it is and I just gotta go get it one day. It's just out there and you gotta go find it. So know that there's an abundance out there and you have to ask for it, whether in your mind where you're thinking about it or to whoever else you want to ask for it. So know that it's out there. Know that you just got to go get it. And you got to make a decision to go out there and get it. Okay, I'm going to go through. That's all I got, guys. Any questions on any of these? Holler at me, yell at me. Anything I talked about earlier, ask me. I'm going to go back up top to some of these comments. Kelly, one of her comments is, I wish I had known that I didn't have to know everything before I could get out there and start to create my business. So yeah, very common. This industry, like I said, I can't sit you down and train you everything. No one can. The only way you're going to get really good at this or learn it at a high level is by doing it. It's the only way, right? We talk about riding a bike all the time. The only way to learn how to ride a bike, you can't sit down in a classroom and do it. You have to get out into the street and you got to fall over a couple of times and you're going to skin your knee. It's going to hurt, but it's the only way to learn how to ride a bike. Same thing in real estate. When I worked at the bank, we had something, I was an analyst, so I'd work on projects for management. And so we had something that we would make fun of the management. We had something called paralysis by analysis, which meant we would sit here and analyze something for 6 months or 8 months or a year and never do anything. And management would always be worried, what if we did it and something went wrong? What are we missing? Figure out this. How does this work? What will this cost? And we never did anything. Then finally, when we finally did it, crap that we didn't predict would happen, stuff that we couldn't have predicted would happen. And so the idea is if we had just jumped out there 8 months ago and done it, the same stuff would have gone wrong. We'd have fixed it. We'd be 8 months ahead of ourselves. So same thing in real estate. If you're afraid to go do an open house because you don't know what to say to a buyer, go do one, screw it up, and then call me, call your mentor and say, hey, I really screwed this up. And then I'll say, okay, yeah, when that happens, say this, do this. When you follow up, ask this. And that's how you learn. Then when you go do that second open house, you got it. The person says the same thing, and it's the exact same response. So this is where we talk about imperfect action too. You have to go take action before, you have to go do something knowing that you don't really know how to do it. You have to get out there and do it before you know how to do it. It's the only way to learn. If you have that kind of mentality where I can't do anything until I know everything, this might be a little more difficult for you, but you have to get out and do it. Doing it on your own. And even when you're like, when we're doing FSBOs, we try to do 2 or 3 together. Then you got to go do your own. Because if we just did 100 together, eventually you're going to cap out on what you're learning. You only learn so much from watching. Watching is very important. It's a very important piece of it, but you can only learn so much from watching it. So eventually you have to go out and do it on your own. And you're going to learn even more when you're doing it on your own than you were when you were watching me. So know that you're going to have to do stuff before you're ready. And that's the only way to learn. Kelly, thank you so much. Charlie had a good one too. Wish I had accepted earlier that sometimes stuff falls apart regardless of my best efforts or practices, and to view it as a positive that I was even in a place for that to happen, aka progress. So yeah, I was talking with a girl on our team a while back, and she was new, had like 3 or 4 FSBOs that were like right there on the cusp of listing, and it was like her 4th month. And she's like, man, I just, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Nothing's happening. And I had to remind her that, hey, you weren't even licensed like 3 months ago. Like you weren't even a real estate agent. You got 3 people who are thinking about listing their house with you. And 3 months ago, you were not even an agent. That is not normal. That is phenomenal. And you have to remember that even though, God, yeah, sure, I don't have 10 houses under contract right now. But the fact that I got a stranger to let me list their house, someone I just met 2 weeks ago, because I followed the system, because I talked to my mentor and I overcame objections and did all these things, that I followed the system, is a huge, huge win. And you have to remember those little victories. You have to have gratitude is so important in keeping that mindset positive too. You have to remember that, holy cow, the fact that I'm even here in this situation where I'm sitting in front of a buyer and seller and I've got a chance to win their business. Most realtors sit on their hands all year round, hoping for an opportunity because they don't know how to go out and create one because no one ever told them. So be thankful that you even have an opportunity to capture a buyer, to capture a seller. That's a great point, Charlie. The fact that you're even in position, that you're even in a position, you've put yourself in a position to have success. Seems crazy, but you're leaps and bounds ahead of most people. Charlie Merida, hot fire. That was phenomenal. What else, guys? Keep throwing them at me. Arpon, celebrate small wins. You have to. Very important. Very, very important to do that, because the small wins might be all you have for a couple weeks, couple months. Even when you get that first listing, right? You might just be setting yourself up to fail, right? I got the first listing. Oh man, I got fired from probably 3 of the first 7 or 8 listings I had, right? So, and then I look back and I was like, oh man, I can't believe I convinced these people to let me list their house. But I was just going, didn't know what I was doing. When you talk about imperfect action, that was me to a T. I had no clue. I had my mentor's phone number and I got a lot of questions answered, but I was absolutely going further than I should have been going. And the cool thing, what I love about the system is I had no idea what I was doing, right? Like I said earlier, I only knew that I didn't know what I was doing. But I did what I was supposed to. Follow the script, call the people I tell you to call, do the open houses. And I was getting freaking listings, knowing nothing, doing the stuff I was supposed to. So that hopefully gives you a little comfort that just do what you're supposed to do, guys. I'm not telling anyone to do anything I didn't personally do dozens and hundreds of times. This is a system that anyone that's had any measure of success in Kibo has done. You just got to go out and do it. So